Hello and welcome to drillingcontractor.org. This is Kelly Ainsworth Robinson at the 2018 OTC in Houston. I'm with Indy Chakrabarty, Vice President of Strategy, E&P Software for Emission Automation Solutions, to discuss the ongoing digital transformation in the oil and gas industry, which has been a hot topic at this year's conference. Hi, Indy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kelly.
What are some of the major trends that you've seen with regard to software development in the drilling industry?
I think we're seeing some of the same trends that we're seeing in the overall industry, but specific to drilling. The three big ones, I'd say, is the use of the cloud and the adoption of artificial intelligence, as well as connecting subsurface reservoir description to surface operations. So you think of those three areas. Cloud one is relatively easy for this industry in that it's been getting remote data for quite some time, but now with the cloud ecosystem, more partners can collaborate together on that same information. And then if you think about the adoption of artificial intelligence, that's probably going to help us in two different ways. One of those is to improve in terms of risk mitigation, so you can look ahead of the bit and look at new sensitive information and look at past trends elsewhere and be able to suggest alternatives to your drilling procedures once you identify hazards ahead. But the other category would be not risk mitigation, but finding a better spot to land. So the machine learning capabilities of looking at both the reservoir data and the real-time information together gives us a better sense of where we need to be, which then ties into the last trend, which is taking your reservoir description and connecting that with your surface real-time data coming in, because it's those two sets of information that allow us to place our drill bit optimally.
How are these software solutions changing the drilling industry's workflows, and what are some challenges that companies face when they're adapting their workflows for the digital age?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's quite a bit of workflow change happening. In fact, I would say the workflow change is larger than the technology change. So on the cloud bit of it, not a huge workflow change for drilling folks who are already working with remote data. But once you get to the artificial intelligence, the key to getting that to work is, it's not a magic bullet. You can't just put a machine learning brain to look at the data and it just gets the right answer. What you've got to do is get all the data in the right place, connect the data sources together, clean it, filter it. So that's a big workflow change in terms of data management. And then similarly, the workflow change for reservoir teams to work with operations teams, very different behavior there. So one set of those guys are working on a long cycle decision making, very focused in on the science, and then the operations teams, they're having to work in real time and make decisions on the fly, but also they've got a lot of risk and safety concerns that they need to manage against. So you look at those two teams and now you say, well, you guys work together, very different mindsets. So that's a big workflow change as well that has to occur.
In what way is the Internet of Things affecting the industry's workforce and day-to-day activities?
Sure, Internet of Things is something that everyone's talking about today, or industrial IoT in our case. But I would say in the drilling industry, we have to make a distinction, which is that if IoT is merely sensors picking up data, drilling industry's been doing that for decades. So in the case of drilling, what I think is important and critical about the IoT we're seeing is to take those bits of information, the sensor data, and combine them together and make new inferences that were not visible before. And I think that's the change that we're going to see, which requires, again, all the trends that we talked about previously, is the ability to have machine learning and hence have clean data and do it on the cloud so you can bring all this disparate information together. So for us, IoT and drilling isn't that we need new sets of sensors. We've got the sensors. It's that we need better decision-making intelligence out of the streams of data that are already available.
Indeed, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your thoughts on digital transformation.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity and have a great show.
And thank you for joining us on drillingcontractor.org.